In global diplomacy, the most devastating blows are sometimes not dealt on the battlefield, but directly at the table during a ceasefire process. Amidst the ongoing Strait of Hormuz blockade, the Tehran regime is now facing a situation that mirrors this striking reality. An incredible military unification is taking place between Saudi Arabia, located to Iran's southwest, and nuclear-armed Pakistan, which has been hosting the peace talks. This move, which perhaps not even the US expected, completely shatters the outdated defense taboos of the Gulf and shifts regional offensive superiority in a single stroke. This is a cross-border show of force involving tens of thousands of troops, dozens of fighter jets, and crucial supply planes. Moreover, this move does not stand alone. For the first time in history, Gulf countries are displaying such a highly coordinated military reflex, while Saudi Arabia fortifies its land and air power. With Pakistan, the UAE has accelerated its own coalition preparations. Bahrain continues to host the US field fleet, and Qatar is protecting CENTCOM headquarters. But for Tehran, the real bombshell was Riyadh and Islamabad coming together militarily. That formidable combat force, deployed by Pakistan Army into the heart of Saudi Arabia at the most strategic point of the eastern province, has fundamentally changed all balances. We are talking about 13,000 elite Pakistani soldiers who turned King Abdulaziz's air base into an impenetrable fortress overnight, and a ruthless combat fleet whose batteries are locked directly on the heart of Iran. The deployment locations is no coincidence. King Abdulaziz Air Base is one of the closest strategic Saudi facilities to the Iranian border. Situated in Tehran, this base is between breathtaking distance of the Strait of Hormuz. In other words, Pakistani jets and soldiers have arrived right at Iran's doorstep. The result is a massive joint military force of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, practically one sortie away from Iran's border. The breaking point has begun, where Iranian generals, who are often bogged down in street battles and proxy conflicts, now find themselves facing a regular, ruthless, and belligerent army for the first time. However, what is truly surprising is that Pakistan is committed to protecting Saudi Arabia from potential Iranian attacks within its most elite military units. These incoming personnel include the most elite infantry and special forces of the Pakistan Army, hardened by years of facing terrorism and asymmetric warfare and seasoned cross-border operations. Also on the way are air defense geniuses capable of setting deadly traps in hot sand of the Gulf in seconds, alongside mechanized armored units that would paralyze enemy lines. Now, this striking force, handpicked specifically from Pakistan's 10th and 11th Corps, will be poured in like concrete into Saudi Arabia's defense lines. But the real terror lies not in soldiers marching on the ground, but in that silent, unforgiving darkness of the sky. Those grey, deathly shadows taking off one after another from the runways of King Abdulaziz Air Base. We are talking about 10 to 18 JF-17 Thunder Block 3 and J-10C fighter jets. These aircrafts are not ordinary jets gliding through the sky. They are technological predators, thanks to the advanced AESA radars they carry in their horses. They are capable of instantly detecting even the flight of a fly deep within Iranian base on the opposite shore of the Gulf. Their flying headquarters can blind enemy missiles in mid-air and lock their systems with electronic warfare capabilities. Furthermore, with the PL-15 long-range air-to-air missiles carried under their wings, they provide significant protection against Iran's drone attacks. In short, a full-fledged air defense shield is also being built between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. A tremendous technological superiority is emerging, one capable of destroying the Tehran's regime outdated makeshift fighter jets, which are rotted under years of embargoes from far beyond the horizon before they can even be seen or detected by the radar. And this massive air power was not a lone fleet consisting solely of fighter jets. Right behind these jets are ZK-03 AWACS, early warning aircrafts guiding through the sky like giants, godlike eyes. Pakistan is also sending mid-air refueling tankers to Saudi Arabia, ensuring the battle can continue uninterrupted for hours, and not only hours, and days. The foundation of an alliance group that Tehran never expected are being laid now. Let's add Saudi Arabia's own deterrent army power against Iran to its massive military support provided by Pakistan. This is particularly relevant because an agreement exists between two countries similar to NATO's Article 5. An attack on one country will be considered an attack on the other. The foundation of the massive build-up were laid behind closed doors, not during the day, not during the crisis, but earlier. It stems from the uncompromising and lethal mutual defense pact between Islamabad and Riyadh in September 2025. Now, this agreement was not just a weapons sale or joint exercise contract. The previously mentioned partnership clause it contains became the true source of the storm brewing in the Gulf today, that domino that shook Iran. Therefore, we must add Riyadh's military capabilities against Iran to the tens of thousands of troops and dozens of aircraft Pakistan has deployed to Saudi Arabia. The active personnel strength of Saudi Air Forces is approximately 230,000. In the country Air Force, more than 300 modern F-15SA, F-15 and Typhoon fighter jets are in service. We also must not overlook the flawless steel net drone across the sky, consisting of Patriot THAAD and SAMT batteries on the ground that can scan the horizon. The strong defense network creates a multi-layered umbrella against Iran's ballistic missiles and drone attacks. US forces also directly contribute to this equation. F-35 and F-15 fleets stationed at Prince Sultan Air Base work integrated with Saudi air defenses. The US military presence on Saudi soil is between 3,000 and 4,000 troops, with some rational forces as well. So, a trio of Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and additionally the US is forming before us. Isn't this picture forming in the Gulf much clearer now? All this multi-billion Saudi technological infrastructure has merged with Pakistan's aggressive, uncompromising, and warrior-like air engagement mindset. This immense range of Saudi radars and the deadly accuracy of Pakistan missiles have become a single entity. The US, on the other hand, opened the Gulf umbrella for the joint force in the region. This picture reflecting on the giant screen is the underground bunkers of Tehran's generals. It's not just a tactical disadvantage, this is a flawless psychological collapse, a potential that could trigger the crumbling of Iran's military arrogance. Iran suddenly found itself barrel to barrel, not only with the monarchies of the Gulf, but also with a neighboring nuclear-armed massive war machine. Now, a single Iranian drone trying to infiltrate Saudi airspace or a single ballistic missile fired could face the ruthless and disproportionate retaliations of not just Riyadh, but Islamabad as well. In other words, a flawless, deadly, and irreversible geostrategic trap has formed in this region. The Iranian propaganda that for years portrayed Riyadh as a paper tiger, reliant on US protection, flush with cash but weak in military intellect, has shattered to pieces. However, the Saudi mindset was not shallow enough to think it could win this war by merely piling planes in the sky or just stacking Rafales on the ground. Great wars are not won with explosive sounds of missiles, but with the silent sounds of collapsing economies. We saw this with the scenes of the global oil crisis during Iran's crisis. We know of Iran's infamous energy blackmail, where it has held the global economy hostage for years, shouting, "I will close the strait and plunge you all into darkness." Riyadh was simultaneously paralyzing these very arrogant and asymmetric blackmail methods beneath the desert itself. When the calendar showed April 8th, Tehran thought it was attacking into intoxication of cheap victory. Iran's suicide drones and ballistic missiles made a relentless drive into what was supposedly Saudi Arabia's energy heart, the Manifa and Kurez facilities. The critical pump stations of the East-West pipeline were hit, and massive fireballs rose into the sky. The picture in the initial moments of the attack was grim. A daily oil capacity of 1.3 million barrels was completely wiped from the system from that very moment. Production at the facilities had effectively halted. Tehran assumed it had severed Riyadh's jugular vein, brought the Saudi economy to its knees, and plunged global markets into chaos. Just 4 days later, Riyadh's response to Iran's cheap and shallow asymmetric show with the ice-cold, calculated, and ruthless face of military engineering. On April 12, the Saudi Energy Ministry didn't just quietly clear the rubble at the facilities. It awakened at full capacity that steel monster which shakes the entire global energy equation to its core and multiplies Iran's dominance over the strait by zero. Namely, we are talking about the East-West oil pipelines. This is a massive vein originating from the fields of the eastern provinces of the Gulf Coast, areas that are dangerous and constantly within the range of Iran missiles. This remarkable line runs hundreds of kilometers beneath the desert, following that safe and deep route where Iran's radars and missiles can never reach. It then extends to the Red Sea coast in the west to the port of Yanbu, a complete strategic bypass line. But what is truly remarkable is not the locations of this oil route, but how much energy it carries. Pushing the boundaries of engineering, the capacity was raised to an unimaginable level, exactly 7 million barrels a day. If Iran cannot find a way to break this multi-front siege, the Tehran regime could face the heaviest economic and military pressure in history in the incoming weeks. But by nature of war, a concerned actor is the most dangerous actor. Iran's speedboats, drones, and ballistic missiles could still spark a wildfire. In short, the chess game currently being played in the Gulf waters has reached a stage where every move can have irreversible consequences. Do you think this massive military unification will force Iran to back down, or will Tehran show an even more aggressive reflex as it is being cornered? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. This news has been presented to you by Awesome, and you're watching the Global Observer. See you in another one.